We need to define first somehow, the smart city space. And my definition I think I like most is very simple. It's simply the networks, all those networks that change our lives over the past 20, 30 years, are now entering the space of the city. The internet, if you want, is becoming Internet of Things. It is opening up huge new opportunities in the way we live the city. So think about how different it is today versus like 10 or 20 years ago. The way we move in the city, we meet people, we buy something, we work, and all of that. Well, all of this is changing because of this convergence of digital and physical. Now, somehow we can say that basically there's an endless new realm of opportunities we have in the city. And those can be captured in different ways. Yes, they can be captured for control, to actually control more the city, top down. But I think the most exciting thing is really not that. It's actually how we can use and leverage all of this to make the city, more like a bottom-up dynamic system in order to empower citizens to do more in their space, to become actors of the environment they live in. And so that's what I'm particularly interested in. Like it often happens, the same technology can be used in different ways. Here it can be used top-down or bottom-up. Well, I believe we should encourage more and more bottom-up because it means empowering citizens to take care of their cities. Yes, the future is unpredictable. I've said it quite a few times, but many other people have said, the great Karl Popper actually wrote about this. The future is based on information we don't have yet, and so we cannot really predict it. But what we can do, we can actually try to build the future. And I think that's what architecture, planning, engineering, more generally, the space of design should do, is actually try to turn the present into a future we like. And so what design can do is really also think in this way, in an evolutionary way. Think about steps. Every new design is a step, but it's not the final decision. It's just a step into an evolutionary process that hopefully will lead us to better cities. Sensors and artificial intelligence and new technology have been incorporated at every level of the design process. First of all, at the beginning, when you're understanding a situation, when you're also learning about a place, you're serving a place, clearly we can benefit a lot from this new type of data. And then, of course, we can use artificial intelligence into the design process, in the construction process. Now, construction is being totally disrupted today because of digital platforms, how we can make buildings in a factory and just assemble them on site. And then clearly also how we live the place, how the building itself can become like a living organism because the building has sensors, the building has eyes, has intelligence, it can respond to us and to others in a much more dynamic way. So somehow you could say that new technologies and in particular sensing and artificial intelligence can really be embedded in any step of the design process. Our interest is actually a bit broader. Our interest is really on the convergence of the natural and the artificial world. And if you look at the natural and artificial world, this kind of convergence is becoming very, very important today. Today, in the middle of the Anthropocene, we really need to find new ways to integrate nature with our lives, to integrate the natural and the artificial. And using smart technology is a very important way by which we can actually lend to the artificial world the ability to respond like something alive. Thanks to sensors, thanks to artificial intelligence, thanks to actuators, thanks to all of this, we can actually transform the artificial world into something that looks much more like the natural world. I think the three most important things about the city of tomorrow will be citizens, citizens, and citizens. I think the important thing about the city of tomorrow, my ideal city tomorrow, would be a city that's really much more connected with people and what we aspire to. I like to think about design as an omnidisciplinary space. For me, design is really what Herbert Simon used to say. He used to say that the natural sciences look at how the world is, but design looks at how the world could be, how it ought to be. And so if we look at this, how we can transform the present into a possible future, then we really need to use all the tools we have. So there's no reason to really have boundaries. We really need to draw on every possible discipline in order to achieve that, to look at the world how it could be. A crisis is always a very interesting time. Rahm Emanuel, the former mayor of Chicago, said once, never let a good crisis go to waste. And the interesting thing is that during a crisis, everything changes around ourselves, and we need to rethink really who we are and what we do. So during the pandemic, yes, we try to think about how design and the things we do could actually help, in this new time, with this kind of new normal that was being set. And more generally, I think this is really what architecture and design should always ask. It's about the responsibility we have, designers. Too many times we just think about beautifying useless objects. If we continue doing that, like Buckminster Fuller once said, it will be oblivion, because architecture design will become irrelevant. But I think if we are able as designers to really look at the core issues of our times, and if you think about climate change, think about segregation in cities, think about what happened during the pandemics, and all the new issues we've been facing. Well, if you look at that, then, like Buckminster Fuller said, it can be utopia. Design can really be at the core of building tomorrow. I like very much Beijing, and it's an amazing city. I feel a bit sad that a lot of the city was destroyed in the past few decades. I went to read some of what Liang Xisheng and then Wu Liangliong wrote about the old city of Beijing. And Liang Xisheng, he was very sad when they demolished the first walls. The walls, he said, it were like a necklace around old Beijing, because he knew that was the beginning of the end of the old city. And unfortunately today, a lot of that city, that was one of the marvels of the ancient world, has been lost. But what is there is still very exciting. And what is there, what remains of the old city, is still what I enjoy most when I go and visit Beijing. I think biennales are great, but we need to change the model of the biennale. The old biennale is now dead. The old biennale was about, taking a bunch of projects and showing them together. You don't need it anymore. You got the internet, you've got many other ways to access that knowledge. But what we can do is different. We can actually give a very important role to biennales tomorrow. It's about using the biennale to do a temporary transformation of the city. That can be like part of an evolutionary process. So it becomes a way to change something that then later could become permanent. It's a way to accelerate urban transformation. If you use the biennales this way, they can really have a key role in shaping the city of tomorrow.